Hey guys, this is Putt here, bringing you the second interview of the NABA Season 2. Today I'm joined with John. He is the coach of the Torres Torcos.
Yo, what's up, guys?
Alright, John, so the first thing I want to talk about in this interview is your Week 1 match, because so far you're the only coach to win both of his games, so let's just briefly touch on the Week 1 match.
Well, week one, I had an unforeseen incident with my phone, so I didn't get to attend the drafting. So I
Yeah.
basically got my team drafted by you, which is not the worst thing in the world considering how long we've been friends. So I figured you'd do me right. You got me Mammoth Swine, which was big, and you got me Zapdos again, both Pokemon I'm really familiar with. So, this team that I've got is definitely great. I mean, it's nothing for a team that I didn't get to draft myself. I would say it's about as good as you can get. So, yeah, going into this week, it's like, okay, what do I have? What can I work with? And basically, let's just try and stay afloat.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. When I had to draft your team, I tried to I wanted to pick some mons that you were familiar with, but I also wanted to pick some new stuff because if I only pick familiar mons, the whole season could be boring. And so I was trying to
yeah,
do a little bit of both. And I think your team's really strong. It has a lot of threats on it that scare me, and I know everybody else. I mean, you have the number 3 Pokemon in the MVP race right now with Garchomp. That's only because he didn't really.
yeah.
I mean, last week he only got. I mean, he did have Play of the Week, but we'll touch on that later. But uh, so yeah, your team is definitely strong. That was a crazy game last week, though. That was super long. That's why I just wanted to briefly touch on it because it was so long. If we tried to fit both battles into this video, it would last easy an hour. So I don't want to do that.
Yeah, yeah, no,
All
I
right,
don't
so let's
blame you.
just go on to our next point here, and that's the
Sure.
mindset you had going into this game against Colton. Like, what were you thinking?
Well, it's like I'm coming off. Last season wasn't great for me. It was very new, like trying to learn all this stuff. I mean, this is so much different than Nintendo's version of. It's like it's so much more stat based kind of stuff. So, well, I
Yeah,
say that. I mean, it's much.
yeah. It's
I
more
feel
than
like
just it's
I don't
more
know.
than
It's
just
more
what's
involved.
super effective and what's not super effective. It's more about like this Pokemon's faster than this one.
Right.
This one can learn all these moves. This one can learn these moves. You got support mons.
Right. It's
You got
just
tank mons. You got offensive mons. It's all different. So
right, yeah, exactly. And I went into this game thinking, okay, let's I just came off a win, so let's try and repeat that. And yeah, so that I mean that's basically it. I mean, just trying to get my second win
yeah,
by doing what
just
I do
continue the
do
momentum.
best. So yeah,
Yeah.
I
You brought a
mean,
pretty similar team. You have four of the 6 you brought from week 1 and week 2.
right. Right. Well, I mean, there's, with Regirock and Galvantula, there's like that thread of what I can throw out with webs and rocks, that duo, and then having Galvantula or having Zapdos and Garchomp to
Yeah,
just
and they're also so
clean
reliable,
after
especially.
that. It's just such a heavy team comp that I figured, why change what's good? And I looked at Colton's team beforehand. I'm like, this will probably work against him too. So let's just try it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. The Reggie Rock especially is like so reliable getting out the rocks just because of how hard he is to kill. He's almost he can almost guarantee that he's gonna get the rocks up or do something useful
mhm.
for your team. So I love Reggie Rock as an NU Pokemon. He's just like he's so strong
He's
at
so
what he
beefy.
does. Yeah, he's so strong
Yeah.
at what he does, and yeah, he fits in this team well. All right, so let's just talk about the team that he brought real quick. Um, there, I'll close that thing out so you can see on the screen there to
Mhm.
refresh you. So, is there
Um,
anything that you see on here that like really surprised you, or
to be honest, not really. With the way I've kept up with Pokemon, it's like I knew half of his team. I've heard of half of them before. The other half I'd like seen, but I didn't know what they did.
yeah,
So it was like doing quick research to remember
yeah,
what they
yeah,
do. And then making sure I remembered that muck has a little bit different stats was important. So, basically making sure that I remembered their typing, because sometimes with me, I get confused on. It's sometimes with the way they're doing the new Pokemon. I mean, like Gen 1, Gen 2, you can just look at them and tell. Now it's like they're getting kind of crazy with the color schemes. It's kind of hard to tell sometimes.
Yeah, I would say Colton's team has a very strange. He has some of the stranger combinations. Like you've got Muck there, Alolan Muck, and then you've got Mimikyu, which also has like the Ghost Fairy typing, which is also a weird combo. So then he's got the Grass Fighting Breloom. It is kind of some weird combos, and the Dark Ice Weavile, like not the most common combos of typings that you see on his team. So they can get kind of confusing to remember, what hits him super effective and what's neutral, what's not very effective. With Mons that have such weird typings. All right, so let's talk about your team here for a second. So what was the mindset behind this team that you got here? These 6.
Well, okay, so I've got my my hazards. I've got Galvantula, I've got Regirock. So I'm thinking here, let's start Galvantula. Let's get my webs going. So I've got the speed advantage for most of these mons, and then find a way to either Volt Switch out or let him die. Well, potentially try and kill somebody with him. But if I can't, I'm just gonna sacrifice him. Let Regirock go in, throw his rocks, do his thing, and then go from there with my switches and trying to get to a position where I can take control of the game. And I felt like I did that for the most part. I mean, we'll get into it, but it wasn't too difficult. Once I have both those out, it's pretty easy to take control of the game.
Yeah, you had a game plan. And you went in and you executed it. That's the main thing, is that you go into the game plan and you carry out the game plan. All right, so talked about all this stuff, like your team, his team. So I'm going to switch the screens here. Got it pulled up. All right. So now we're just going to go through the battle turn by turn. And I'm just going to ask you kind of, some of them I'll probably skip over because they'll be like kind of meaningless and just obvious plays. But some of them I'll ask you like, what you were thinking. So I'm just going to start it here. Oh, I turned the music off. I'm so sorry. Everybody, if I just made you go deaf, I'm really sorry. I clicked turned off music and it still, I'm so mad. All right, so here's turn 1. And like you said, you led the Galvantula to you wanted to set the webs. And that is exactly what you do here on turn 1.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So he goes for the Rock Tomb, and I thought this was really, really interesting because he goes for the he's got the Scarfed Breloom with Rock Tomb, and I was really curious. I thought we were going to see a different lead. Honestly, I was expecting him to bring Cloyster this week for the Rapid Spin because of webs and rocks. But he didn't bring it, and so I thought, well, maybe he's got a strategy to kill Galvantula.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking
without
too.
Webs, but then he comes out with the Rock Tomb, and it does plenty to kill, but the sash allows you to survive here, and then he just kills you on the next turn because he is obviously faster than you with that Scarf, and letting the Galvantula go down there was the right play because you don't really want to switch any of your mons in. I mean, Regirock could have easily, but there was really no reason to keep Galvantula around. Like the webs were up, and since he had no spinners or defoggers, his job was done. The webs were up, and they were up for good. So let's go to turn 2. Now I thought this switch was interesting. Can you tell me your mindset behind this switch here?
Well, honestly, I thought I could put him in. But, I've got Grass Fighting here. If I survive the Rock Tomb, I've got him. And it was probably not the smartest play on my end because it was definitely a gamble, but it ended up working out for me. So I guess I can't complain too much, but he did take a lot of damage. So that was about the only thing I used him for. I can't really remember.
Yeah,
I'll have to get into it, but
I ran the calc on this play because I was curious. So I did the calc for Choice Scarfed. I think I did Choice Scarf Adamant. I might have done Jolly. I don't remember Breloom. I'm pretty sure it was Jolly, but I'm pretty sure it was Adamant. But Rock Tomb on a Pyroar has a 31% chance to one hit KO. So there was like a 1 in 3 chance that you actually died there, but you do get the 70% survive, and then you're able to kill him easily with the flamethrower. And then oh my bad, I hit the mic there. And then the next turn he brings out his Alolan Muck. And you just get a little chip damage off here, which I thought this was the right play also, just to say, you know what, that's fine. Say, would you get rid of Pyroar because and just get some chip damage off, and then you go out into the Regirock here, and so this was an interesting play here because you set the rocks, he goes for knockoff. I know in the recap video that I did, I was talking about how I thought here the obvious play was like, okay, you bring out the Regirock, he's scared of Earthquake, right? So he's gonna switch. So you send out the rocks, like, okay, that's fine, it's free, I can do it for free. But then he actually stays in and knocks off.
Right.
And I didn't run this calc, I wish I would have, but
I know.
Since he knocked off 2 turns in a row, I was just wondering if he's like banded or if he's stuck in it. I don't know, but I thought that was an interesting play. But you get free rocks, which is huge for your side. And then out comes his Manaphy here, and he's gonna set up as the Earthquake does nothing because Manaphy is just so bulky. And then
exactly.
Yeah. Then he sets up the Tail Glow here. And what was going through your mind whenever he makes this play here and gets the +3?
Well, I mean, obviously, Manaphy's probably one of his more scary Pokemon. I mean,
absolutely.
Going into my prep for this game, I mean, I'm looking at his team and I'm like, dude, if he brings Manaphy, and I don't already have Zapdos out, I might not have a shot. So I was like, all right, as quick as I can get him in, the best chance to get him in. So I did the one move I could, and then got him in there and just tried to make a play happen. And so I mean, he's so strong. That is such a strong Pokemon that he was really the one thing I was scared of in this whole team here.
Yeah, Manaphy's definitely his strongest Pokemon. Whenever he made this play, or whenever I was doing the recap video, I was talking about how he misplayed because he cannot set up a Tail Glow and sweep while Zapdos is alive. If your Zapdos is dead, he still can't do it because Nidoqueen. I don't know if you had Thunderbolt on it or not, but you probably did for the Manaphy because that would just make sense.
I can't remember. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure you would have because of the Manaphy.
I think I did, yeah.
But under webs, Nidoqueen definitely outspeeds Manaphy, and from this range, it would definitely kill with Life Orb. Sheer Force, Nidoqueen is just so strong. So I don't really know why he made this play. If it was only Garchomp and Regirock left, I could understand this play because he would survive a hit from Garchomp, and he'd be faster than Reggie, probably even under the webs. So I could understand this play. If those were the only 2 left, but he made this play too soon, in my opinion. If he'd been more patient with his Manaphy, he could have actually done something. But he needed to get this Zapdos out of the way first. That was his problem here. So let's just keep and this goes back. And this I want to tie this back to the webs because Weavile is by far his biggest threat against the Zapdos. Because one Icicle Crash from Weavile will kill Zapdos, no problem. But his Weavile cannot outspeed Zapdos anymore because of the webs. Because he's going to get caught in the webs, and now he doesn't outspeed, and Zapdos can Heat Wave him and kill him easy. So that bad matchup turned into a good matchup for Zapdos simply because of the webs. All right, so I'm just going to play it here, and of course you go for the T-Bolt and just kill him. So his Manaphy literally does nothing but set up Tail Glow and then die. All right, and then out come the Mimikyu here, and this is a really weird Pokemon. So what was your game plan, your strategy against this guy? Oh shoot, we lost him. Just 1 second, ladies and gentlemen.
What happened?
We disconnected for a second.
Oh no.
It's all good. I'm still recording.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I was talking and I asked you a question. It was just silent. I was like, is he thinking or what's going on? I was freaking out.
Super well thought of question.
I was like, wow, man, he's thinking this one through.
Okay, and drop some Tony Dungy knowledge on you, baby.
Okay, so I don't know where you exactly went out. So I played the Manaphy play where you killed him with a T-Bolt pretty easy, and then he switches to the Mimikyu here, and the Mimikyu has the disguise, which allows it to take 1 hit before it. You have to break the disguise before you can do damage to it.
Right.
So he brings out the Mimikyu. Right. What was your strategy and game plan against this guy here?
Can you share your screen with me for?
Oh yeah,
so I can see.
I'll have to do it again.
But let me think.
Hold on 1 second. There we go.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Honestly, if we're being super honest here, I have never come across one of these Pokemon in my practice.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know that. I'm like, all right, just hit him with something. I think I don't remember. This was so long ago. I don't know if I remembered Googling him real quick just to see what his typing was.
Yeah. I forgot to mention that this game is over a week old because John they had to play it early in the week. Then John was gone the rest of the week. That's why we haven't been able to do interview till now. We planned on doing it last week, but didn't get around to it. But yeah, he is Mimikyu is brand new from 7th gen. He's very, very strange. The disguise ability is really strong. It's what makes him OU because he can get a free swords dance and he can do a lot of things with that. But you made the right play regardless by just popping the disguise. You just said, screw it, let's just pop this thing, because you can't afford to switch on him because if you do, he can get another free swords dance if you don't break the disguise immediately.
Right.
And then you're able to get him low, and the Shadow Sneak does end up finishing off your Zapdos. But you've got him so low. And the fact that he has life.
I got the Paralyzed too, which was nice.
And he does get parried here.
Yeah.
So Regirock gets
right here.
The KO.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Zapdos, I'm going to pause it real quick. Your Zapdos has got so many paras in the first 2 weeks. It's absolutely insane.
Dude, he has been my absolute bread and butter. I don't know if I'm just getting crazy lucky or what, but yeah, you can probably guarantee he'll be in every game this season unless, I've got a reason not to.
He's so easy to build around because his typing's so good. His move pool's pretty solid. He can run so many different sets too. You just never know. You never know what Zapdos is in front of you. That's the scariest thing about him. Is
exactly.
What Zapdos is this? And then if he gets wrong, you could be screwed. So you always have to pay attention to that Pokemon because it's one that you look at and you think, oh, it's just Zapdos. It's not that big a threat. And then you realize how strong he actually can be, and you're like, oh boy, I can't break this thing, or this thing is going to sweep my team. So Zapdos, scary Pokemon. That's why I picked him first for you, because I know the power of the Zapdos. It's one of my favorite Pokemon. So anyways, he brings out the Muck again, and I thought this was interesting because you just went for the Earthquake, but it honestly doesn't matter because if you look at the team you have left, you've got Regirock, you've got Garchomp, you've got Nidoqueen. All three of them outspeed Muck. All three of them have Earthquake, Garchomp and Regirock have Earthquake. Nidoqueen's got Earth Power. But regardless, this thing dies to one hit from all three mons. So it's almost useless at this point. So I'm just going to play it here. As the Earthquake just finishes off the Regi, nothing special there. But things start to get really interesting. When
I don't know what that play was. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know what that was about, why he did that. But
I was thinking
maybe he knew he couldn't do anything else, so just get him in there. I don't know.
He might have. Also, it might have been him just hoping that he could outspeed even underwebs and just get off some chip damage. I imagine that's probably what his plan was.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the other two mons, like Reggie's the only one he has a chance of even doing any damage to with Muck, because the other two are definitely going to outspeed him. So maybe he was just hoping maybe by some chance I could actually outspeed and just get a little bit damage before I go down, because he was dead against the other two for sure. But anyways, the Miss Magius comes out and it sets up the Natty plot here, gets the +2, and you make a pretty big misplay here. Can you tell me what you were thinking on this play here? You went for the Earthquake, and she had
probably let's be honest. If I misplay this big, it's probably because I wasn't thinking. You get into this kind of situation where it's 3-2, and you get nervous, and sometimes it's just you stop thinking.
Yeah, when the nerves get going,
you just do a move, and that's probably pretty much what happened.
Yeah, when the nerves get going, it's like your brain just can't focus, you can't concentrate, you can't think about what play to make.
My early game's really good. My mid game worries me because it's
as the game goes on, you just
get
more nervous.
If I'm losing bad, I get super nervous, and then if I'm winning, I get nervous because I'm like, okay, don't mess this up. I don't want to be making a mistake here. Yeah. So I mean, there's definitely some psychology to it for sure. I mean, it's a poker game, and you've gotta know your opponent. So
Yeah,
and I just misplayed here.
I pointed out
Plain and simple.
the fact that the Miss Magius didn't get caught in the sticky webs, and one thing about sticky webs is that it doesn't catch flying Pokemon and it doesn't catch levitators, and so yeah, if you would have gone for like a like a Stone Edge or I don't even know what Regidark even learns, to be honest with you, but some different move, you probably wouldn't have killed Miss Magius, but you would have gotten pretty close. You would have done at least a good chunk of damage to it. But honestly, I feel like Colton should have brought this in earlier.
Yeah.
Just because it wasn't going to get caught in the sticky webs, and I don't know, maybe he didn't really have too many good opportunities to bring it in. Oops, I guess his only good opportunity was against the Reggie, where he felt safe. But yeah, if he could have got it in earlier and maybe broke your team down some more earlier in the match, then maybe later in the game he could have cleaned up. But anyways, let's just play it from here. As you switch into the Nidoqueen here, and so your Nidoqueen just takes the Shadow Ball and it does 90%, and then you get outsped on the next turn and your Nidoqueen goes down. I talk about in my recap video how this is like the absolute play you need to make here, because if you go into Garchomp, you lose the game. So that was like a really smart play. Just you say, screw it, gonna get rid of this Nidoqueen. Poor Nidoqueen, she didn't get any play time last week. She just sat on the bench the whole game, and then this one she just gets used to. Oh my gosh.
Hey.
All right. So we dropped.
Man, AT&T is being rough today.
What are you talking about today? That's every day, man. All right, I'm sharing my screen again. Okay.
All right, there we go.
Okay, so
all right.
Let's see. I don't know when you dipped out on me, but what I was saying is that you brought out the Nidoqueen died, but that was the correct play to make because you needed to get a free switch into your Garchomp.
Yeah.
And so that was the right play to make. Nidoqueen didn't really get any use, didn't use it all in week 1, and then just gets used as death fodder in week 2. So poor Nidoqueen, but she did her job, which was to let Garchomp switch in here. So I'm just gonna let this play go out here as the he drops the Dazzling Gleam and the Roselli Berry saves him. So what were you thinking?
my balls were up inside me. I super glad I brought that, first of all, and second of all, I'm just I'm just happy to be alive at this point.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, if you're running any other item, well, I mean, if you're running like Sash Garchomp or something stupid like that, which, I mean, if you're running Sash Garchomp, then you went and got Sash Galvantula and had webs up. So if you're running any other item, you're not in this position, and your Garchomp is dead, and then your Regirock somehow has to beat Miss Magius and Weavile, and that's just not going to happen. Because even if you were able to kill Miss Magius, one Shadow Ball, I ran the calc because I was curious. I think +2 Shadow Ball does like 70-something% to Reggie, and I don't know if I can see the percent right now. Yeah, you're 74%, so that would have put you in easy KO range for the Weavile, even if you weren't able to take out the Miss Magius. So the Roselli Berry comes in so clutch here, saves the Garchomp, and you just go the outrage
really does.
and kill the Miss Magius.
Yeah.
Now it comes the Weavile here, and I thought this was interesting because I was like, oh man, I think he just won the game right here. But then he actually goes for the Ice Shard. I forgot about the Ice Shard. I forgot about that priority move.
I know, I did
because
too.
last week he ran Banded, Banded Weavile, so I wasn't thinking Ice Shard. But he runs the Ice Shard and is able to outspeed and kill because it's a priority move. And then it's the Reggie Weavile 1-on-1, so I'm just going to play it out here. So you make the misplay here and go for the Earthquake. It does like no damage really, and then and then you're like, oh yeah, Weavile's 4 times weak to fighting. Let me just Drain Punch him, and it got a little sketchy there. If he could have got a crit or something on that misplay, that could have got really bad for you there. So luckily you didn't get crit, and luckily you did remember the Drain Punch. Was the best move for the Weavile, so you're able to take him out there. You moved to 2-0, the only 2-0 team to start the season, which was kind of silly considering we've only played 2 weeks, and everybody's either got everybody else has got a loss, and so that's pretty crazy. So, to sum up these first 2 games as a whole, how do you feel about your start to this season?
I would say that My record is no indication of how well I'm doing. I got lucky on this game. Very lucky. I'm not gonna say I didn't get lucky on my first game. I definitely got lucky on that one too. With Garchomp, that 7-turn play was absolutely crazy with him. So I was definitely lucky in both my games. So I'm not gonna chalk it up to John Torres being great because I'm definitely not. But that being said, I mean, going into our game this week, I'm doing a lot of prep, a lot of team building just to try and figure out what you're going to do. And I found that there is about only one way to beat you considering your expertise in Pokemon, and it's with preparation. Yeah. And if I can out-prep you and I can figure out what – I don't even have to necessarily figure out what you're going to bring, just what you think I'm going to bring and not bring that. Try and figure out a way to keep you away from what you think is going to happen. And so, it's going to be fun. We'll see.
The main key for winning in Draft League, and this is not just against me, this is against everybody, it's to have a game plan when you go in. Last week I lost my game because I had absolutely no game plan. After I seen the week 1 match between you and Matt, I just thought, okay, John ran like a bunch of offensive mons, he had a couple walls, and all he did was just eventually break down his walls, and then he just won the game because Matt had like very little offensive pressure, but he had so many bulky Pokemon. That's why the game lasted so long, because he was wish passing and he had all these bulky mons. But finally, your Garchomp was able to break through and just finish him off and clean him up. And I thought, you know what, I can do the same thing. I've got Hydreigon, I can slap a scarf on him, I can throw out Draco Meteor whenever I want to. He's got no fairies. I was like, that'll be nice. And then I was like, you know what, let's run Dodrio because he can break walls pretty good. And so I just started slapping some random Pokemon on there, and I didn't have a game plan. It wasn't like, this team is going to do this, and if this situation happens, I'm going to do this. It was just kind of like, yeah, here's 6. And then I didn't practice with them any either. I just like made the team and just that's it. I didn't run any. The only calcs I ran were for Granbull, Terrakion, and Zygarde 10%. But besides that, I didn't run any calcs, which is just terrible prep. And it was pretty. I was pretty disrespectful in my prep, but I honestly just thought I could build the same team and repeat. But you should never think that, hey, my opponent lost this way, he's gonna make the same mistake again. You should think, hey, my opponent made this mistake, he's probably gonna correct that. So I'm gonna have to get creative here. So, that's one lesson I've learned is that you can't just.
Honestly, that's the beauty of us having it. Right. Yeah, that's the beauty of us having a 10 Pokemon team is that. Yeah, you might have those good, few Pokemon, but with 2 good Pokemon, you can have a completely different team week to week. And being able to prepare for what the other person's going to do is tough. I mean, it's really tough. So, I've basically tried to figure out, okay, what is a good team for me? What works for me? And what am I comfortable with? Because if I don't know my team inside and out, I'm not going to be able to think on the fly when something doesn't go my way. And if I'm solely trying to plan for my opponent's team, and I'm using Pokemon or movesets that I'm not familiar with, I'm not going to be ready in case all hell breaks loose and something's not going my way. So that's really my suggestion: is just stay comfortable. And, I'm not saying you don't risk a couple things, but risking your whole setup or your whole team is just unwise and can lead to a loss, especially early.
Yeah. I would say prepping is by far the hardest in the first few weeks of the season for 2 reasons. For one, you don't know your team that well. You're still learning, hey, how does my team, how do they gel together? What Pokemon play good off of each other? Which Mons do I need to do this and do that? And then also you look at your opponent's team and you're like, I don't know what they do either because we haven't seen many examples of them playing. So these first 2 weeks is kind of just random, You can't really look at somebody and say, he likes to run this Pokemon a lot and he runs this set a lot. So you can kind of predict that. First in only 2 weeks, there's not enough data to look at and say, John runs this Regirock every single week and he does this set. There's not enough to look at yet. And also on your own team, you don't know exactly how well your team's going to work. So by the time week 5, 6 rolls around, we're going to have a few more games under our belt with our own teams, and we get to watch the other games more, and then we'll start to get a feel for who's doing what. I know last season when we got to week 5, prep had gotten pretty easy for me because it was pretty easy for me to predict who they were going to bring, just based off of recent matches, and then comparing their team to my team, and I got pretty good at guessing. And the games they got pretty easy just because I would almost predict the 6 every time, and but this season has not been the case, at all. I predict and I'm like, oh boy, I'm wrong. Oh boy, I didn't think about that. What am I gonna do? So yeah, I think as the season goes on, the quality of games will get better because people will start to learn each other better and their own teams. Okay, I had to catch my breath.
Yeah, I agree. And we kind of got lazy last season, and we never ended up finishing the whole season and going to playoffs. So I think with the momentum we have this season, everybody's really into it this season. It's much more thorough. It's much more organized, and seeing us get this excited about it's really great. And I think these playoffs are going to be absolutely crazy, and I'm super excited to see what kind of crazy shit goes down because it's going to be epic.
Yeah, I will give a shout out to Matt and Colton here because they did play the week 5 match. They kept playing last season while everybody else quit. So shout out to those guys.
Yep.
Also, last season we had some players that were not as motivated. Like this season, all 8 players are motivated to play each and every week. Everybody's active in the chat. Everybody's practicing, everybody's team building, everybody's like texting me all the time like, hey, what do you think about this set? Is this stupid? And it's crazy because last year it was not like that at all. But this year, like, all 8 people are super into it, and everybody's just trying to win. And that's the difference, I think, this year. Last year it was like we had a couple teams that had to just forfeit games because they just didn't do anything all week. And it's not like, building a Pokemon team in a week is pretty easy. I was building my team for you the other night, and I probably spent like an hour and a half, but that's all I did. And then I've just practiced with it, but it didn't take that much time, and it doesn't take a whole lot of effort to really put good prep in. You just have to know what you're doing, I guess, really. But I think this season we definitely have the balls are rolling, and I don't see it stopping. I definitely see the playoffs. The playoffs are definitely going to happen this year.
I agree.
Like, there's no stopping like anybody else from playing. Like, I don't see anybody saying, "Nah, I'm good, I'm done." So that's the thing I'm most excited about, honestly.
Yeah,
this season.
I agree.
Is that crap?
Yeah, I'm loving the YouTube presence we've got going on too, because that's just great. It's making it a little bit more official, and everybody kind of wants to play better because they know it's a little bit more official this time, and this gets me excited for next season too, when we can do this like the real right way and have it a lot more formal and a lot more better, I guess.
Well,
it's bad
last
English,
season was kind of like a test run, I guess you could say. If you look at our stuff from last season, like our videos, we didn't have team logos. I was doing like I would do 2 battles per video and just try to like squeeze them in real quick, but now I'm doing one for each and every battle. We didn't do any interviews. The Google Docs sheet from last season was just like a bunch of like white pages, but then this year Matt's got this whole template of like that's just insane. It's color coded.
Our spreadsheet's so legit.
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to Matt.
It's amazing
to do that, but he's like does all the spreadsheet work, and it's like I don't know how he does it. Like how he can sit there and like type
Matt,
all the
boy.
MVP race in and sort it out in his mind. I've tried it before, and I work on it for like 15 minutes, and I'm about to lose my mind. And he's able to.
Yeah, it's only someone in high school had this dedication to a video game. Because I don't have that anymore. There's no way. I sit behind a computer all day at work. There's no way I can come home and do that.
Yeah. I like doing it for like 10 minutes, and then the tedious repetitiveness of it, I can't do it. So just a shout out to him for like
it's awful.
Actually doing that every single week and just keeping it updated, because there's so much stuff on there, and there's so much more stuff than last season. We even have like which Pokemon KOs which Pokemon and on which turn and with which I think it even has with which move they used. Like, it's just crazy.
Yeah, the amount of data available there alone is helping tremendous for prep. I mean, I can't imagine week 7, week 8 leading up to the playoffs is going to be. We'll have so much data. I mean, you can almost graph charts on how Pokemon's going to perform.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's that data is going to be super valuable going into the playoffs.
Yeah, team prep is definitely easier with the new charts now because all you do is you just click on your opponent's team, you see their whole team, you see their stats, you see their typing. There's even a type effectiveness chart on the very end that shows their weaknesses and resistances. So you can see, you can just look and say, oh hey, his team's got this huge hole with he's got 0 dragon resistances or 0 dragon immunities, and you're like, oh, this is really good. Before you would have to like look at each and every single Pokemon, but now it's just like boom, it's right there, it's all put together. So yeah, the spreadsheets are super.
Yeah, I remember last season having a separate Google page open with every tab for each Pokemon on Bulbapedia while I battle, just so I could have the typing right in front of me.
Yeah.
And now it's a lot easier.
For sure. Well, I am super excited about this Week 3 matchup between me and you. I don't want to talk about it any because I don't want either of us to accidentally
I don't either.
Give away any strats. We got plenty of time to talk about that at the end of the week or whenever we can get around to it. But
yeah, we're gonna have to get a breakdown after this game with you, because it's gonna be interesting to see how this plays out. With me at first and you at second.
Yeah.
If it's a close game, it's really not gonna affect either one of us too much.
Yeah.
It'll put you ahead of me, but barely. If one of us really takes it to the other, it's gonna slingshot one of us into first.
That's
for the season.
That's the good thing for both of us. It's more for you than me, because if I happen to lose this game, even if I keep the differential low, being 1 and 2 is not a good place to be. So for you, you're in a much safer position, because let's say you lose 2-0 or something, well, you're still 2 and 1, and you still have a 2 differential.
Right.
So that's still pretty solid. But if I lose, sitting 1 and 2, even if the differential is good for me, 1 and 2 is not a good spot. So,
right.
This is a pretty big game. This game's way bigger for me than it even is you, because you can kind of afford to lose this one just because you're already ahead of everybody else by a good bit. But for me, if I lose this one, I'm falling to the bottom.
True. Yeah, Caleb's 0 and 2, and then I have him the week after we play. So, I might lose. If I do lose to you, I do have Caleb that I could potentially get a win on. No offense, Caleb, but it's I'll be coming at Caleb hard if I do lose this week.
Yeah.
And try and pick up that third win for me.
That's the thing that really sucks about playing an opponent that just come off a loss, because that's what I did last week. I played Matt. He just came off a loss against you, and he came in fired up, ready to put me in the ground. Because he was because you lose and you have to wait a week to play somebody, and you're just and you're just chomping at the bit, and he obviously put a lot of prep into it, and that's what happens. Because I didn't, I won. I was like, I'm not, no, whatever, and then I got put in the bed. So that's what happens. Playing somebody off.
Not to call Caleb out, but honestly, even if I win against you, I'm gonna be coming hard for Caleb, because with 4 wins, I'm guaranteed playoffs. So, even if I lose out, I don't think I'll get out of the playoffs with 4 wins. So, being able to secure that 4th week, that would be huge for me, especially me going into Josh Sam back-to-back. Both of those games got me worried. Josh, not so much. Sam, a little bit. Sam's been trash talking a little bit, so maybe he'll slip up, and we'll see some karma.
I've got you this week, then I've got Josh next week, and
it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, Josh's matchup, it's funny because whenever me and Josh do scrims, I usually beat him pretty easy. But whenever we're playing a legit match, it's not as easy. Josh takes it way more serious when we're in a legit game. and like I mean, he
Yeah.
really gives me a run for my money. So I'm actually really nervous about him because when we're playing legit games, he knows how to get in my head a little bit. Now when we're just messing around, scrimming and just screwing around, I mean, I can get in his head and just spin him around in circles. But when it comes to the real deal and he's really trying to win, I really can struggle against him. So that match really scares me just because I know how he is whenever we're in a serious game.
Yeah.
Especially playing against me because I know he likes to beat me. So I'm really looking forward to both of these games I got coming up. I'm really nervous about both of them because I mean, if I make misplay like I did last week, I could be sitting at 1-3. So I can't afford to do stupid plays like I did last week because
Oh, man, that'd be great.
I pretty much had the game in the bag last week. And then
I
threw
mean,
it away,
honestly,
so.
dude, like, yeah, that's the problem with us being as good of friends as we are, is that it's hard. It's not like you're playing with Randy's. It's hard not to be in each other's head to a certain degree, and kind of know what the other player's going to do, at least kind of, a general strokes kind of way. I mean, sometimes we get surprised, but
the hardest thing
sometimes
to
we
do,
don't. So
the hardest thing to do is figure out what kind of battler your opponent is, because some people are really straightforward. They make the obvious play almost every time, and then you got some people who sometimes they make the obvious play and then sometimes they just misplay. But if you guess them to make the right play and then they misplay, it ends up being the right play for them. I know that sounds kind of confusing, but
that's me.
But that can happen. And so
I'm just hoping to screw up at the right time.
So it's really hard because if you're making predictions and then they don't do what you predicted, they may have predicted you to predict, but if they didn't and just misplayed, then that can bite you. So I think that's really funny. I think learning other people's battle styles is really hard to do, and because you have to watch matches after match after match after match, and there's just not enough replays for that just yet. So yeah, all right. Well, this video, I have no idea how long we've been recording for.
It's
probably nearly an hour. I don't know. I don't have my I don't
yeah. I love how we're like, it's not going to be an hour, and then we take it to like 50 something minutes.
This is what me and Samuel did, man. We just kept talking, and then I was like, hey Sam, I was like, bro, we've been talking so long, and then I stopped it. I was like, oh my god.
I know, dude. I got on YouTube to watch that, and it was 53 minutes. I'm like, I don't know if I want to watch this. I don't know how. This is so long. And I got into it, and it was actually really good, but yeah, that was really funny.
All right, well, I'm going to end it here. I turned the face cam on for the very end here.
All right, cool.
So if anybody actually stayed to the end, they get a special treat. So thanks for joining me in this match, John, or in this interview, the second interview of the season. We're gonna we're gonna do more. Hopefully we can do more. Hopefully we can do some more live games this week. I don't know who's gonna play when yet. So if they'll get in touch with me, we can figure out when which live games we're gonna do, and hopefully we can get as many people here. We did get the three-man game last week. Unfortunately, I had the wrong microphone, but I'll fix it this time. I'll make sure I had it right. Have it right this time, so it'll be an actual three-man cast or four-man, however many people show up, who knows. So looking forward to the live games. Thanks, John, for joining me. You've had a good start of the season.
Of course, glad to be here.
Yeah. We're gonna have more interviews.
Caleb look out, and Sam can go fuck himself. So
we got some more interviews, some more live games coming up for you. So just be on the lookout. Thanks for watching. Peace.
Will do.